Superintendent, I wanted to talk a little bit about the process you'll go through for closing these schools. We actually had somebody on from Pew. They did a study on the impact that schools have when they close all around the country. It's surprising there isn't actually a lot of research and a lot of data and a lot of money put into this. It's still a very local issue. But it's clear when you look at communities around the country that have closed down schools, it can have a very devastating impact on the community. Do you look at that when you're looking at whether or not to shut down one of these buildings?
We are, and that's a good question. If we go back a little bit, looking at when Ivanhoe was closed and the schools on the west side of Gary, that left an empty spot on the entire west side of Gary. And we want to make certain that we do not do that. So we, again, looking at the communities, the sub-communities within our entire community, and making certain that we have at least schools in each one of those areas. So we're looking at that. We also went to doing a zero-line budget for all of our buildings to make certain, again, we're fiscally responsible in each one of those buildings.
I've been looking a lot at the Etna neighborhood, kind of a very sort of average neighborhood in the city of Gary. There was Etna Elementary School. It closed about 10 years ago, well before you got here.
Well, you know, my mother used to work there.
Did she really?
Yes.
Well, I talked to folks that in the community that live around there, and it seems like that is one of the signs that that community started to see more abandoned buildings and more disinvestment as soon as that school was shut down.
And so those are some of the things we're looking at. We're looking at the population within that area. And we're also working closely with the city in terms of where are these abandoned homes and where are the homes you're, tearing down. So we want to try to make certain as best possible that we take everything into consideration because that will have an effect.
Do you have money to do anything to really, or is it really a matter of you have to look at the oldest building and with the smallest population?
We're looking at that. We're looking at the population within that area. We're looking at where maybe the next economic development is going to occur by the city. So we're trying to look at every avenue and make the best decision. In addition to that, in the event that we close some buildings, there's always the opportunity to open them back up. So we're looking at possibilities right now at even possibly opening other buildings up as the population increases.
But can you afford that at this point?
Well, we're working with the legislators. We've been having meetings with the legislators because some of the situation within our budget issues have been long-standing. Example, over the past 5 years, we lost $100 million. All of that was not due to just enrollment. Some of that was due to the DeGoster, to the tax revenue, a number of different components, which makes Gary kind of different from a lot of the other communities in the state of Indiana. And in addition to that, we're looking at the federal level. As you know, we're designated by Barack Obama, President Obama, with the GS2, not GS2, GC2. So we're hoping to receive additional funding and support in terms of helping us to revitalize the whole picture.
A couple of years ago, Hammond basically went through a building boom. They used their casino money and they rebuilt a lot of their schools. Before that, East Chicago took its 2 high schools, combined them into one and built a brand new school. Is some of this just Gary has a lot of very old buildings? They need to build maybe one brand new high school rather than have 3 older, a lot of tradition there, but older buildings?
And that would take time. You know, because that is a paradigm shift and that may be an option. I'm not going to say that that's what this community needs at this point because we do it together. But I can tell you this, I would like to see maybe something in recognition for Michael Jackson, maybe a Michael Jackson school or School of the Performing Arts or something like that. So we're working on a lot of things.
Who would pay for that? Are you talking about trying to attract private investment to build a school like that?
Exactly. We're working on with private investors. Again, Magic Johnson. We're working in a lot of different areas. So we're looking at the legislators, what we can do downstate. We're looking at our local dollars and how we can use those to make certain that our schools are viable and move to the next level. And we're also looking at those private investors and foundations.
City of Chicago closed a whole number of schools. One of the concerns that was out there was that people will be crossing over gang lines in different territories. Is that a concern in the city of Gary? And how are you handling that?
That is a concern. We're working with the police department to identify
And
the
what
gangs.
would you be able to do if you end up closing down a neighborhood school?
You know, my thing is to find out who the gang members are and to sit down and have those conversations like they have in other communities. Because what happens on the street should not affect the education of our children. That should be common territory. So I don't want to get into the gang issue, but our children are our most prized possession. And we must really make certain that they are protected and they are able to receive their education. And when they come to school, it's a safe haven. So we have to change the cultures within our buildings to make them academically situated where students can receive what they need. And to just provide them with some love.
Whatever decision is made, is it going to be made in time for next school year?
Yes, it will. The goal is to make it before the end of the school year so that teachers will know, so that the community will know, so that our children will know. So indeed, we're working. We had a retreat in the month of April. And the retreat was basically to look at all of the things that you've talked about and to have those conversations. But that was the start of it. So we will continue and bring it to the board in terms of what the administration recommendations are and then begin to talk to the community.
So we'll know pretty soon here.
Yes, sir.
Superintendent Cheryl Pruitt, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. Thank you.